Oh, shit, I didn't see you guys there. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the JROD Pod. This is the Thanksgiving special podcast. It's a bonus episode. That was so embarrassing. But I don't know if you guys can tell, but I've been working out. So if I start to get out of frame, we're trying to get a bigger camera with a wider lens just because I am like getting huge. But it's not a big deal. And that's not even what we're here to talk about. No, today, what we're talking about is Thanksgiving. This is a Thanksgiving themed special podcast. So let's just start out by saying this. First of all, Thanksgiving, you get together with your family, your friends, whatever. You cook some turkey, you make mashed potatoes, you bring the corn. It's a great meal. But other than it being a great meal, unless you have a really great family, it sucks. Now, here's the thing. People still will attend a Thanksgiving dinner knowing it's going to suck, but they know the food's going to be so good that they're willing to sit through, a really old relative, talking about, a while back, I remember doing this thing, and whatever they're saying is completely outdated. And it's just like, would you shut the fuck up? But some people have, really great families, and I'm sure they're excited for it. But something that is absurd is America, and this is a stat. America, I'm a stats guy. America is spending $1 billion on turkey this year. 1 billion. Now, I don't know how much we sent to Ukraine, but we could have got more turkeys if we wouldn't have spent all that money in Ukraine. I mean, seriously, 1 billion on turkeys, that's the GDP of a small island nation. Then a floating island of garbage, Puerto Rico. Just kidding. Shout out Kel Tony Hinchcliffe. What a legend. No, but seriously, I mean, turkey's not good. Like, for some reason, it's good on Thanksgiving, but it's dry. It's just a shitty bird, And the holiday was made up. So what happened was, pilgrims, they survived this, horrible, like, winter, fall, whatever, and they didn't die. And so they were very happy. And so they gave thanks, and they didn't die because, well, first, they didn't die. So they were thankful that they were able to eat a meal. They weren't feasting. They were happy that they were getting a meal. Now, I don't know which tribes helped, but something that a lot of people forget is that there were so many Native American tribes in America. And something that is presented a lot is that these Native Americans were very peaceful, stoic, sitting on a rock, with feathers, just they wouldn't say much, but when they do talk, they always say the right thing, and it's kind of like a riddle. That's not fucking real. No, like, if you think of the Comanches were the most gruesome Native American tribe in America. Like, they were crazy. And so the Comanches, they'd be getting bullied. They were getting bullied, by other tribes. Because the Comanches were small, they weren't good with, like, weapons. And so, the other tribes would kind of just push them around, shove them in their fucking lockers. Get in there, you Comanche. Just fucking toss them in like a little bag of butter or something. And then I think it was the English, right? The English maybe the Spanish brought over horses, and that's when horses first became a thing in America, because horses they're not native to America. So it'd be like bringing elephants here. And the Comanches just happened to have a talent for it. And so they were the best horse riders in the world, and they just started fucking people up. And I'm talking horrible things, like killing, women and children in the most gruesome ways possible. I remember there was this one story, this one man, I believe, he was walking and he's with his wife and child, a baby child. And, the Comanches, they would like do frightening tactics in the middle of the night because you couldn't see, and they would literally like be around you all night, and then eventually they would come in for the kill, and they were twisted. I mean, sometimes they would, leave you alive. Like there was this one story where they raped this man's wife and child, baby, killed them both in a very gruesome way, and then held his eyes open while this happened, and then cut his eyes out as soon as it ended because they wanted that to be the last thing that he ever saw. And yeah, so these, they were very gruesome, the Comanches. Now, I don't know too much about like the tribes that apparently helped some of the pilgrims during, the cold and harsh winters, but in return, the pilgrims did give them blankets with smallpox, and then they all died. And so some of the way, and also that wasn't the only way that smallpox was spread to, Native Americans. It's not like there were like, this is also misconceived thing about the history of this great country, America, was that the English, pilgrims, we like intentionally gave all of the Native Americans smallpox. That's not what, like, with blankets and whatnot, and that's not true. What happened was, for example, some of the Comanches, they killed a group of settlers, and then they would collect scalps. And so, like, they found dead bodies of some of these pilgrims that were buried, and they cut their scalps off too. Little did they know those dead bodies that were buried had smallpox. And so that gave them smallpox. So it just transmitted very fast in, those different kinds of ways. It's not like it was just, the white man, I was trying to blame the white man. Anyways, this is interesting. So Lincoln actually declared Thanksgiving a holiday in the middle of the Civil War. Isn't that interesting now? Now, I'm not exactly sure why he did this. I'm not exactly sure why he did this, but I'm gonna find out real quick. Oh, so I guess, you know what? I guess he declared it, shocker, he declared it a holiday after his wife or someone, Sarah Joseph Hale, just nagged the shit out of Abraham Lincoln into making Thanksgiving an official holiday. Wow. She was relentless with writing him letters. So she was just basically just spam emailing Abraham Lincoln, and just like she was the first bot ever. And it worked. And he decided, hey, Thanksgiving's a thing now. Okay. So the other day, this all goes around Thanksgiving. Well, first let me talk about Friendsgiving. Friendsgiving is, whoever invented that is so lonely and sad and disturbed. Disturbed. Friendsgiving, like you already had Thanksgiving. The closest people were there at that dinner. And you're gonna have Friendsgiving. It's just like, all right, it's gotta end. It's gotta end. I know it was fun. So, really, Friendsgiving is for losers, people who hate their families, and there's just something about like a Friendsgiving. Like just the thought of like a bunch of kind of snubby nosed people just sitting around, they have a like glass of like white wine, just something. They're just like, and they're playing like a board game. There's something about that I hate. I hate that. And it's like, oh, hey Gary, like, you still, still working over blah blah blah. It's like, oh yeah, sure have. I'll tell you what though, and then they say something that no one gives a fuck about. That's what I think of when I think of Friendsgiving. So in essence, if you're celebrating Friendsgiving, you are a pussy that wears sweaters and drinks white wine and plays board games and probably hates their family. You suck. But Black Friday is also, just, around the time of Thanksgiving. I really do like Black Friday because it shows kind of the sickness, and just how disturbed and materialistic people really are. I mean, people die. People die to get 20% off of Lululemon pants. Do you know that the guy who created Lululemon pants called it Lululemon because he thought it was funny when Chinese people would say the name of the brand. Woo woo women. Oh, I like those woo woo women pens. I swear to God, that's true. You can look it up, and he actually got kicked off the board for it. I mean, he's balling, but what a guy. I mean, that's so funny. A woo woo women. I would take 5 woo woo women pens. Hilarious. I mean, there's a lot of like rich, CEO founders of companies that do funny things. I don't like I'm not a big fan of like I'm not a big fan of like CEOs who, and this could just be me, but like unless they're helping me directly, I don't like it when the CEO is like, kind of like talking about like what you need to do to be successful. It's just like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, you successfully started a company. Congratulations. Other than that, what I'm doing in my life has nothing to do with what you're doing. And I don't want to be a part of that kind of life, where you put on that, slap on that smile every day. Like, hey, how's it going, Gary? Going good. How you doing? How you doing, Liam? It's just like, did you see, Mary got a new car outside? Yeah, it's nice. I heard it only had 6,000 miles on it. Not bad. Pretty good deal. It's just like, oh my God, shoot, just kill me. If I'm ever in that situation, you'll find me in the bathroom with my fucking brains blown out, all splattered up against the fucking wall. I promise on my life that would happen. And there'd probably be a styrofoam cup sitting next to me with like a little bit of drinking coffee, but then a lot of like, cough syrup and shit. I'd be on that scissor before I pop my head off. But yeah, I'm just not a fan of that. I mean, and I think it is good to have, that's the kind of boss you want. That's the kind of CEO you want. You want someone that is continuously looking to grow and whatnot, but at the same time, just fuck off, It's a sick culture that we're living in. Everything is everything, from being president to being a chef. Everything is like that. You're two different people. There's the person you are in real life, and then there's the person you are online. Like I'm just thinking. Well, I feel like Donald Trump is very similar on and offline, right? And I think that's why he's so authentic, because in a way, a lot of like politics, like you are one way, or at least you used to be one way, but behind closed doors, you're another way. It's the same thing with social media. There are people that are completely different on social media, on their YouTube channel, that are not the same at all when they're off of it. Now, me, I am literally like what I think. Like, I just joke around all the time. And it's probably not the best, but it's just what I do. And I do it because I think life is funny. It's funny when you find out that Bill, you run into Gary at the store, and then there's a tragic thing that happened the other week. Bill, a guy that you both knew, you kind of knew Gary, Gary kind of knew you, but you both knew Bill. Somehow Gary knows that, like, he's like, yeah, did you hear about Bill? That's horrible, right? Yeah, I know. Get this. Blew his brains out with a shotgun. Boom. In his garage. Family is inside. That nice Mustang he used to drive? Yeah. They found an ear lodged into the outside mirror. Just brain matter. All over the back of the wall. Can you imagine? I mean, jeez. I guess he was going bankrupt. Wife was threatening to leave with the kids. Next thing you know, life's funny. Anyways, it was good seeing you. Give you a pat on the back. And then they just push their shopping cart and just move along. And it's just like, I didn't really think about how he killed himself or why. And, I just kind of knew, and it was sad, and that was it. The only people that should know about how someone killed themselves is the family of the person that did it and the police. That's it. Other than that, Gary from down the street doesn't need to know. He doesn't need to know that Bill blew his brains out and there was a piece of his ear lodged into the mirror of his Mustang, and the family was inside, and he was going bankrupt, and then the wife was threatening to leave with the kid. How do you even know that, Gary? How do you even know that? It's weird. Just people love to gossip. And that's what happens around Thanksgiving a lot. There's a lot of gossip going around in Thanksgiving and whatnot. But just remember, those people gossiping, they're all losers. I mean, depending on how good of a meal they get that day, it could be the last day. Brains blown out. The next thing you know, someone's talking about them. It's a repetitive cycle, really. This is essentially Taoism in a way. You just go with the flow, move like water. But yeah, I mean, Thanksgiving is interesting. Don't be fooled, kids, if you're listening to this. Don't be fooled, people, if you're listening to this. A lot of Native American tribes were very, very disturbed, mean people, and they thought it was funny. Sometimes they would adopt you into their tribe, sometimes they wouldn't. It just depended. And the fact of the matter is this: I hope you all have a freaking wonderful Thanksgiving. And I hope you eat that turkey. And as you're eating that turkey, I hope you're thinking about, wow, this is really dry and shitty. Maybe I can put some more gravy on it, but how good is that for me? And I hope you're thinking, wow. Well, I hope you're thinking, like, I love being here with my family. But I know a lot of you that watch this, you're going to be thinking, I fucking hate my family. When you're at Friendsgiving, you're going to be thinking, I fucking hate my friends. And then when you get home and you're just sitting there with a Stella, no, with actually a glass, you have a big glass, no, you have a pint of Bacardi 151 rum or whatever. Just the strongest shit possible. And you're just sitting there, just fucked up. And you see that shotgun on the mantle above your fireplace. And you look at that shotgun and you think about Thanksgiving, how that went, Friendsgiving, how that went. You realize America's spending over $1 billion on turkey this year. And, there's people starving out there. And then you think about the history of this country and how Native Americans, some of them were cool and some of them weren't. And the ones that weren't, they committed horrible, atrocities. And I hope you get up and you grab that gun and you really think about it. Well, I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. And this has been bonus JROD Pod Turkey Thanksgiving special. And I hope that I have left you off on a happy note. Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. And also, gee, I mean,